Welcome back to Financial Friday. It's August, the slow months for the currencies. Anyway, today I'm going to do a comparison of the two top currencies that have been banging on their 25-year highs. And I'm also going to do a 2-year comparison of saving. And I'm going to answer a couple of emails. So let's get to it. Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content, please like, subscribe, and comment. Yay! Okay, so let's get to the currencies. So what I've done is just compared this last month, the Canadian and the US, primarily because the Australian, the New Zealand, the Euro, and the Pound are all pretty much sitting at their thresholds. So there's a lot of wiggling going on there, and some of them, like the Euro, have been dipping below their threshold. But if you use the Canadian as an example, and I'm going to tell you guys this, I used to trade in Forex, but with a group of guys. This is not about trading. This is not about hedging where the currencies are going to go and such. This is about budgeting and savings. Okay, so today's talk is going to be talking about these two that are sitting at these 25-year highs upon highs. And let's run those numbers because we are going to start seeing drops in it, whether it's before Christmas or after Christmas, who knows, right? Anyway, so let's get into it here. We'll start with the Canadian. Nice round numbers. In order to maintain 60,000 pesos a month, which is what I think you need to have a comfortable living in a expat community that is a studio or maybe a one-bedroom, but quite a small place. Remember, it's the tropics. Go enjoy the outside. So let's go into the Canadian. So to maintain that 60,000 pesos, I need $1,500, $1,500 a month to maintain that 60,000. Now, on the ticker, I put the number where I think that threshold should be. US has been using 50 forever, and that's why you hear a lot of them say a million pesos is $20,000. Okay, nice round number to work with, but it is the threshold. And I've gone into other videos on exactly that. But going back to the Canadian, so $1,500 to get that 60,000 pesos of comfortable living. And the net result is, because we have been averaging 42 for this last month, that means that we have about 3,000 pesos that we should have been saving. And if you throw 2 months out, nice round number, you would have had 30,000 pesos at the end of the year. Okay, just assuming that, you know, there was a dip or whatever. But I don't like to do that because, of course, it didn't average 42 over the whole year. Okay, but there's the point. It's going to go up and it's going to go down, and you need to capitalize when you can and subsidize when you can't, right? So as far as the US goes, again, you've been hitting this 25-year high upon highs, and it tested it a couple of times. It could not break through the high with the Philippine peso, right? We're talking the peso. But for you to maintain 60,000 pesos, you need $1,200 US per month. Now, based on this month alone, the average was 55. I'm not going to give you the 56 because it was closer to 56, but I'm not going to give you the 56. Again, nice round numbers. You would have ended up with 6,000 pesos this last month of savings, and at the end of the year would have been 60,000 pesos, throwing 2 months aside. So that's decent savings, guys. And you can see where over time, this would say you only had 60,000 pesos of savings. It would deal with a minor emergency. Maybe it's an emergency trip home to deal with medical or family. Okay, 60,000 might be a minor medical procedure. Maybe you have to move to a new condo, so there's going to be relocation charges, or not charges, but you're going to have to pay somebody to move you, right? So keep this all in mind when I brazenly keep saying to people, save the 6,000 pesos you made this last month for the US and 3,000 for Canadian. That's not extra dinners out. You're not ready yet, because Lynn and I's focus here is on paying it forward. We're trying to pay it forward to the newbies that are going there and the wannabes, and maybe some of you who have run into trouble in the past. We've known our fair share of people that have run out of money, okay? And they're not stone broke, but maybe the check didn't come through on time, or there was a delay for some reason. That's another reason for the buffer. Maybe you're using some family member to send the money. They go on holidays. There's all sorts of reasons why the money might not arrive. And then there might have been just the overindulging. And because we've been living in Anglais, it's more of the overindulging. And the net result is, some people are 15, 10 days, maybe even just 5 days with no money for food. Zero, nada. So you got to be careful. And one final comparison. I've only tracked the Canadian on this, sorry guys, but it'll give you a perspective, because what I'm going to do is flip these years around. I'm going to flip 2022 going backward in time and flip it over with 2021. But to compare the Canadian going all the way back 2 years, if this was your positive year and the upcoming year was the one that I'm going to talk about in a second, you would have saved $16,200 or pesos, sorry, in this last year. Okay. Now, there was a couple of down months there, but most were on the positive side. Okay. Now, if you compare that to the year before, there was a total loss of 38,000 pesos. So even there, even with saving all the way along, if the years were flipped over and that $38,000 loss is coming in the future, then you can see there's apples and oranges here, right? You haven't saved enough money. Now, to note, for those of you in the US, 1 year ago, you were sitting at 47, well below the threshold. So your numbers will probably crunch out fairly close to being the same, that you would have gained enough money, but also lost enough that you might not get through that next year. And this is part of the reason why I keep, harping on saving, saving, saving. So as an example, if you had 47 last year times your $1,200, you're well below the 60,000 pesos, right? Simple math. Okay, there we go. Last comparison. What do you think? I'm just going to answer a couple of questions here that I've been asked, and that is to do with immigration fees and to do with bank accounts. So on the immigration side, I'm a Bilik Bayan now. So I don't have to pay the monthly fees. Married, so I can return to the Philippines, and as long as I have my marriage certificate, I don't have to pay those fees anymore. But like Calvin from Sunshine Shoulders, if I was living there full time, I still have to leave every 3 years. Okay, and then just up to Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, wherever, and then just fly back in again, and that will reset your 3-year period. Now, as far as bank accounts go, in the U.S., there is a cross-country deal where all U.S. citizens must register their bank accounts, even in foreign countries, with their IRS. So I think I got that right, IRS? Yeah. Anyway, but that, from what I understand, is all dealt with internally in the bank. There's nothing that you need to do on your end. As far as Canadians go, I just went in and opened a bank account. It was that simple. So now, until I get a piece of Philippine ID, there's not much I can do with getting a bank account. But by the time I've started to pay those immigration fees, immigration is now going to ask you to get an ACR card. alien of certificate, or alien registration of certificate, or something like that. And so ACR card. And in my case, I applied for it in Angolese. It goes to Manila, came back, was already there. It does give you a slight reduction in your immigration fees too, if I'm not mistaken, and you don't have to go in every month. That was my history pre-COVID. I don't think the government's really changed too much, guys. So there you go. I think that's a wrap, guys. If you like the content, please like, subscribe, comment. Anyway, appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. Later, Gators.